Are college athletes being exploited? This is a question as a UT sports fan you should ask yourself. Throughout many Division I campuses around the nation, there are prospective professional athletes who are bringing more revenue for the university than most faculty members. For instance, Vince Young and Kevin Durant are prime examples of revenue-attracting athletes. These first-class athletes typically are on a full-ride scholarship, which includes payment of their entire tuition and fees. Many people believe a free education is enough compensation for being an athlete. Last year alone, the University of Texas football team brought in $46.2 million of revenue. This is excluding the $8 million of merchandise sold by the University of Texas, as well as the $12 million a year that is generated through the club seating of Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium. This is a substantial amount of money that is being managed by the self-sustaining athletic department. The amount of money that is being distributed to the players is hardly recognizable compared to the amount of revenue that they are helping contribute to the university. This growing fear gives them incentive to tolerate harsher working environments even if being exploited. The National Collegiate Athletic Association has created rules that force athletes to adapt to exploitation. When NCAA and the universities are exploiting student athletes, they are doing so to make profit. They do this by not compensating athletes like they should. Athlete exploitation does not happen monetarily. Athletes can be exploited by putting them into situations that are not in their best interests. For example, notice how college athletes tend to be grouped in the same college with the same major. This is not incidental. The sole purpose for this is to keep athletes in easier colleges with easier majors so they will be eligible to compete during the sports seasons. USA Today found a large percentage of football players at Auburn and Duke University, about a quarter and one-third of the team respectively, all majored in sociology, while tiny fractions of all undergraduate majors in that field. This shows that these universities' main purpose is not educating their athletes but keeping them eligible to exploit them for their abilities and using their money for the university. Is this wrong? Many students believe a free education is enough compensation for any athlete. It is true that full scholarships cover a large majority of an athlete's education, but the NCAA denies universities the right to pay college athletes anything outside school-related expenses. The problem here is that anyone can get a scholarship. Non-athlete students at the university have the ability to get academic scholarships, but the difference between the two is that college athletes can't use their talents, whereas non-athlete students have no restrictions on using their special talents. For example, Michael Dell used his ability to craft personal computers from his dorm room at the University of Texas and his entrepreneurial skills to start his billion-dollar business. College athletes are denied the right to use the skills to develop sports to generate money. The only reason college athletes are not allowed to invest in their own financial future is because scholarships are assumed to be adequate means of compensation for the large amount of revenue they produce for the university. What about other athletes? Student athletes who are not on scholarships, also known as walk-ons, contribute to the funds produced by the university, but if scholarships are supposed to compensate them, then these walk-ons are going completely uncompensated. College athletes make a huge time commitment to the university and to their respective sports. These commitments disallow them to get a job. Taking away their ability to make any money for themselves might render their ability to go to school. Essentially, these student athletes are working for the university for free, which is an example of the definition of athletic exploitation. UT's very own Ricky Williams is a great example of a walk-on. He was not a scholarship athlete but generated $1 million for UT. He broke over 20 NCAA records while at Texas and received the Heisman but never even finished school. If he was allowed to accept endorsements, he would have continued school. Allowing endorsements would equalize the playing field for athletes who can't get jobs outside athletics. It would allow any athlete with God-given talent to take advantage of those talents. This right is naturally granted to any student in America besides student athletes. It is only fair to allow student athletes to fulfill their potential. Universities exploit players by denying student athletes the right to accept endorsements. The profits from all the endorsement deals are rewarded directly to the coach from the university rather than the players who are being represented. Coaches like Mac Brown don't need endorsements because without them, they are still making $3 million a season. Allowing student athletes to accept endorsements would help to close the gap between the athlete's scholarship, compensation, and actual expenses. Athletes who are able to accept endorsements will be more willing to give up their scholarships for the walk-ons who are not receiving any compensation. This will also contribute to stop exploitation of college athletes because they would essentially be getting a true all-expense-paid education. It is true that a student athlete who does not want to be exploited can walk away from the program. However, where does this leave the athlete with the desire to potentially play professional sports? College athletic programs are used by professional sports as a minor league proving ground. The chances of athletes reaching a professional level are virtually non-existent without the proper forum to display their talents. As a fan of Texas sports, I want you to help stop exploitation of college athletes by voicing my message and informing others that the issue is real. If enough people become informed about this topic, we can create change. Maybe you can create change. Who knows? You could write a letter to the NCAA demanding the rules to change, start a petition, or even boycott NCAA tournaments. Think of a plan that will stop NCAA from taking advantage of these poor student athletes that bring us entertainment on a nightly basis.